Switching gears here, folks, saying that he likes a challenge would be an understatement. Now, the lawyer who defended the convicted terrorist known as the American Taliban has a new mission to take on. He is the man who will lead the government's lawsuit against Arizona over their immigration law. So why does the Obama administration feel that this man is exactly the right person for that job?
And a follow-up now to a story we first told you about yesterday during America's Newsroom. It involves this man, Tony West. He is the Department of Justice attorney who is heading the government's lawsuit against Arizona over its new immigration law, a law that does not, by the way, kick in until the end of the month. West is no stranger to controversial court cases. He represented American Taliban John Walker Lind and is a member of the so-called Gitmo 9, a group of Department of Justice attorneys who represented terror suspects before they then joined the Department of Justice. For more now, we're joined by Mark Levine. He is a radio talk show host and a constitutional attorney, California lawyer, if I recall. Mark, good to see you.
Good to see you, Greg.
A lawyer who defended a terrorist, now leading the case against a state trying to protect its citizens. Is that appropriate?
Is that appropriate? Of course it's appropriate. It's
Why?
the American way. The idea that we represent even very bad people, that's ingrained in the American Constitution. You know, even John Adams defended the Boston soldier, the British soldier who committed the Boston Massacre. Yeah. Really, we shouldn't be blaming lawyers for their clients. Otherwise, we really throw out our whole due process system.
But, you know, it's not only a legal case, Mark. As you know, it's certainly a political issue, a major one in which the vast majority of the American people, not to mention the people of Arizona, support that law. Won't this inevitably feed the impression that the president doesn't take U.S. security seriously?
Well, I think it'll feed the impression that he takes the law seriously. Greg, I listened to your legal analyst on Fox and Friends about a half hour before this broadcast, Peter Johnson, and he talked for more than 5 minutes without mentioning the Constitution of the United States. That's what this is about. And the president and every single member of the federal government takes an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And you and I both know, Greg, that trumps any polls.
Yeah.
So as soon as people need to respect the law and leave the polls aside for now.
But look, you and I are both lawyers. It would be boring if we debated the legality of this thing. It'll be decided by the courts. What I want to talk about, though, is Tony West. Some will inevitably slap West with a label that he's anti-American, right or wrong, for defending a terrorist trying to destroy America. I mean, do you really want this guy to be front and center on a controversial case like that? I mean, it just seems sort of unwise. There are a great many other very skilled lawyers who could do that, who would not bring this kind of distraction.
I guess I don't see it as a distraction at all, and I think I would go back to those critics and say that they are anti-American. To say that they don't believe in due process, they don't believe that everyone needs a lawyer, they don't believe in the Fifth and Sixth Amendment of the Constitution, to me, that is anti-American, not the idea that this lawyer, there's no charge he did anything unethical, anything in any way that was wrong, and so he represented a bad guy.
All right,
we
so
need
Mark,
people to represent bad guys.
Let me try a different approach. All right, so you're making a pretty good argument. And look, you know, I represented a lot of unsavory people as a defense attorney years ago. I get it. But I was always acutely aware of a conflict of interest. Tony West's wife is the former head of the ACLU, which has also filed a lawsuit against Arizona. Potential conflict number one. Conflict number two, cited by the Examiner.com. Let's put it up on the screen. Tony West's sister-in-law is the district attorney of San Francisco and has furthered that city's sanctuary policy for criminal illegal aliens, including placing them in taxpayer-funded training programs to secure American jobs. His own sister-in-law is breaking federal law on the same topic, and yet he's prosecuting Arizona. Isn't that conflict number two?
Well, let's divide them up. First of all, for his wife being in the ACLU, and she is on the same side as he is in the litigation. They're both against Arizona. As you know, Greg, as a lawyer, it's perfectly fine to have two lawyers on the same side. In fact, if his wife were working to defend Arizona, that would be a conflict, but not to agree with him.
What about his sister-in-law, who is arguably breaking the law in her capacity?
I'll tell you this. I haven't heard the charges about his sister-in-law, but I'll tell you this. anyone who supports any immigration policy, whether in California or Arizona, that is against federal immigration policy is wrong. And I would hope the Justice Department would fight not only Arizona that wants to deviate from the federal standard in one direction, but also San Francisco that wants to deviate in the other direction.
Mark Levine, lawyer, radio talk show host. Good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Greg.
All right.